Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Going Ultra. Visit mjmunoz.com/GU for notes and links. And don't forget to subscribe. Like, share, and comment to help me grow. This is MJ cutting in real quick. I made a blunder. I'll just come out and say I made a blunder. I didn't realize that Ultraman Z, the series, takes place after Ultra Fight Galaxy, The Absolute Conspiracy. So, after I did this, I was getting notes ready and whatnot and trying to prep for the post, and I realized that I'd made that mistake. So, I'm actually going to stop here, go back and watch all of The Absolute Conspiracy, and then I'll come back and release this. So I'll watch those, analyze them, release those, and then I will, after, I think there's 10 episodes proper. After those 10 episodes, the 11th episode of Henshin Inspection Presents Going Ultra will be episode 11, covering Ultraman Z episode 1. So hopefully you're hearing that after hearing those. Back to the show. So, I just finished the first episode of Ultraman Z, Ultraman Zett, as it is wont to be called, and I have to say I like it a lot. It was funny. I'm going to make some asides, but it was funny. There were some commercials during the show, which is totally fine. Super Eye's doing it out on YouTube for their own thing, and advertising their own stuff is good. I prefer it when people advertise for themselves while they're presenting the product to me. They can upsell me on something else, and it was they were promoting their YouTube original series, the continuation of it, The Absolute Conspiracy, etc., etc. And I looked at those. I think they're like 10-minute episodes now, if not some closer to 5. But originally there were like 60-second or 3-minute episodes of these web originals that they were doing, and they were dubbing them, which was really exciting because it's nice to be able to enjoy dub. And I was thinking about it. Hey, this is funny. I'm watching a show that's subbed. I'm watching a rerun of Zett or Z, and it's been because of the popular demand or the positive reception that Z received in the United States and wherever else, the Western or English translated Super Eye production stuff gets released on YouTube. Because of the positive reception, they decided to run it again. And I thought, this is a perfect opportunity. It's 25 episodes long. I've been wanting to watch, more Ultraman anyway. I have my Ultraman Season 1 DVD, or Blu-ray set, rather. Well, I have both, actually. I have the full set on Blu-ray, the full Season 1, and I have just the first half of Season 1 on DVD with the dub. I decided to go ahead and check this out because I thought, it's current, it's modern, it's the most recent Ultraman thing, and they're releasing it. They want, more people to see it, so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do Going Ultra series talking about it if I like it, which I assume I will. So probably look around for 25 reviews, analyses, whatever of these episodes as they're going through. So I think it's going to be once a week. So this is going to be the next few months of my life, I guess. Anyway, I was just thinking, it's funny. This is being rerun, and despite the fact that it's being rerun, they're giving us English subtitles instead of a dub. Now, I'm sure dubbing something that's 30 minutes long almost, or it's 27, but with the commercials included, so, that's fine. But let's say it was a 25-minute runtime or 24-minute runtime even. I understand that these other shows that they're doing, Absolute Conspiracy, whatever, if that's being dubbed, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes long, there's only going to be so many of those, 12 of them, let's say. That's only, 60 minutes to 120 minutes at the most versus, 25 times, 25. That's a lot more minutes. So I can understand why they're not doing it. I just think it's kind of interesting. I wonder how well, I think those, the web ones feature English actors, face actors for a very small amount of time, and then they feature the Ultras talking to other Ultras. There's talking kaiju, there's evil Ultras or whatever, so you can just dub those, and none of their mouths move anyway, so it doesn't look bad. And or there's no chance that it can be attacked for looking bad or silly or goofy or anything like that. And I noticed that there were a couple instances in the beginning of the episode, like after the promo art or the the theme song or whatever, where I noticed they're doing a very classic there's like a title card, and it's done in the very classic style, except it's more modernized. So it's like they've taken everything from the original, Ultraman and they're just kind of upgrading it and making it as modern as they can. And I looked at what they're doing, and I thought, that's slick, that looks really good, and it's classic and kind of timeless, and it's cool they're doing that. So perhaps the reason they're being cautious about dubbing, let's say, a full series is because they don't want it to be received poorly because of just the nature of dubs. People think dubs look silly on live action, and maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. Lots of things, like Star Wars is dubbed into various languages, and nobody seems to have a problem with that, that I know of. Anyway, that's just kind of a very long tangent talking about Ultraman Z, and just how, where it finds itself being released and how it's being released, and just that's something I find interesting. But in that was wrapped a compliment of how classy Super Ride Productions is and what kind of good work they do. So now I will get on with the rest of the episode. So I only know 2 characters' names right now. It's Haruki and Yoko, and they're part of this group called Storage, and it says on the name of the back of their shirts, like some longer thing. I think it's defining what storage is supposed to be. I don't know what it's supposed to mean. I didn't pause it to take the time to learn that, but I'm being introduced to the world of Ultraman Z, and so are you if this is your first time potentially, or you understand that it's mine, so bear with me. But apparently there have been kaiju and various types of aliens who have been attacking Earth. This is in an ongoing Ultraman universe. I don't really know how the interaction between different Ultraman stuff goes. I don't really understand how that functions, but I'm sure they're going to do it in a way that makes sense. So because there have been kaiju attacks, because there's not always an Ultraman on Earth to protect the planet, this storage group or whatever has developed technology to have a machine which they called Sevenger, I believe is the name. Sevenger is how they Romanize it, even if they pronounce it a little bit differently, speaking from the Japanese. But anyway, so they've got Sevenger, and it looks like in the opening song, there's at least one more robot that they're going to get going, or mecha, I should say, that'll fight along Ultraman Z, and that's pretty cool. But anyway, it's just interesting. They have this small crew of people, 3 to 4 people, who seem to operate with Sevenger and potentially this other mecha, and Haruki and Yoko both end up piloting Sevenger at one point in the episode, and that's pretty interesting. I find it, well, like I said, I find it interesting that both of them pilot it. It's not like, oh, that's my mecha. This is the mecha. It has the purpose of fighting kaiju and then helping to repair the damage afterwards, which the collateral damage was ridiculous. I could not believe how many buildings they were destroying, and in a Godzilla movie, I get that. Godzilla in his cartoon series, at least, or in well, I'm talking about both the Hanna-Barbera one and the I don't know, whoever made Real Ghostbusters, or Extreme Ghostbusters, I'm sorry, in the 90s, whoever did that after the Matthew Broderick? Is that right? Matthew Broderick? Anyway, Ferris Bueller. After he did that Godzilla movie, they made a cartoon adaptation of Godzilla stemming out of that universe. I don't remember them allowing that much collateral damage in those cartoons, in either the 90s Godzilla cartoon or the 70s, I think, one from Hanna-Barbera. Anyway, I was really shocked by the amount of collateral damage. And that was, it makes the threat of the kaiju serious and scary and real or whatever, but it also interested me that Sevenger was a lot taller than the kaiju that he was fighting, which was Gomez, I believe is the name that they said. And I just kind of find that interesting, and just as an onlooker, as a stranger to this, and I know Angel Grove, the warehouse district, the abandoned warehouse district was constantly being destroyed or whatever, and that in Super Sentai you get a lot of that, but I think the last Super Sentai I watched was Lupat, and I feel like they had a lot less wholesale damage of buildings and civilian facilities than other Super Sentai before it, and certainly less than this, because this was crazy. There was an interesting, I liked that there was a point that being made that hey, the collateral damage is really high, this is making I can't remember if it was insurance rates go up or if it was something like that. It was played for comedy, but what I know of Ultraman, it has humor, and there's nothing wrong with comedy, but of the little bit of Ultraman I've seen, which is not a ton, it seems like there's a real nice balance of like realism and humanity and things like that. And they even raise like an ethical question here, because Haruki gets kind of in trouble because he saves this puppy and he ends up causing Yoko to lose control while she's piloting Sevenger, and there's all this extra damage caused to a building. She, in order to save him, has to hits Gomez into a building, and then she loses her balance, which, by the way, the editing and the direction of her managing the controls and that causing Sevenger to move, it felt really fluid and it felt really realistic, and that was a really cool detail. And then I thought it was interesting, that was for the legs specifically, and then later on when Ultraman Z first shows up, he's shining with such a bright light that Haruki covers his eyes, and you see Sevenger covering its eyes, its optical, inputs or receptors or whatever as well. And so it almost seems like, I wonder how that functions. It's like, is the steering done with a control like it showed with Yoko, and then like the punching or fighting type stuff is done with the arms being tracked, or how does that function? I don't know. I'm kind of interested in that stuff, but I'm hoping we'll get more detail on that later as the show progresses. And like there was, I'm just going to list off a few more things I liked and didn't like, and then I'll kind of close out, because it's all so fresh and new and there's so much to say. I like the villain setup at the end. I like that it's not like Storage or somebody else on Earth is like inherently evil. It's somebody trying to help clean up, got hurt, got infected with this, parasite or virus type thing or whatever, from the carcass of Gomez, and that's going to turn him evil, and there's like some weapons or devices in there, so maybe there will be an evil Ultra in the show. I don't know how that works, but that I'm looking forward to seeing what that guy does, and maybe even those metals that are really like, I don't know why that space shark dude had it was the space shark remains that he was picking up, not Gomez's remains. Anyway, I don't know if the space shark like stole a bunch of Ultraman metals, and like the Ultraman metals, they look a little silly and goofy to me, and like I don't know enough about the universe. It feels like a contrivance, and it doesn't make sense. Like the Zeo crystal from Power Rangers Zeo, or like, and I think it was even the series before then it got introduced, or like those crystals that the Power Rangers would inject into their Zords to make them Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, to make them turn into the first Megazord. Like those power crystals were like, that kind of made sense to me, because it's like it fits in with like a mystical kind of sci-fi kind of fancy thing. But these are just like coins with like, I mean, to me they almost look like it's not like a high-end prop quality. Like it's almost like, this is the toy that you will buy. We made a large one that'll scale to this man's hands, so it doesn't look goofy, and the kid version of it's going to be smaller. That's what it looks like. Like they're actually using toys, and like I've heard it from previous Ultraman series, like they use the Safubi things. They called them spark dolls in whatever series that was before, from a few years ago, and like he literally just like grabbed the action figure, the little soft vinyl action figure, and then like held it or something, and then he got the power of that Ultraman, which is like genius. I love that. It's brilliant. But in this, like the way the metals look, just it doesn't really sell me. However, the Z trigger, I think is what it's called, that the metals slot into, looks really cool. And I like how it goes, it scans, this Ultraman, then that Ultraman, then the third Ultraman. And then he hit the trigger. And like, it was funny, like they do a toy commercial showing how the Z trigger or whatever it's called functions in the episode. And Haruki's like, hey, like, don't we need to hurry? And Z's like, don't worry, time space is different here. A minute here is like a second there. We're fine. We've got plenty of time, dude. Like that was really funny, and Z's attitude is neat. It's he's kind of like laid back. He's like, he wants to be a hero. He is like this up and comer, and I don't remember if it was Zero with him, because I don't know all the Ultras just by look, because they all, honestly, I'm sorry, they look very samey to me, versus Kamen Riders. They have different color schemes, whereas the Ultras are mostly red and silver with some differences. And I've been watching Kamen Rider for 11 years. I still haven't spent more than like 2 years, or like a full year even, watching Ultraman, so you're gonna have to give me some time here. But anyway, his boss, the guy who he was following and shadowing, he ends up, I also like the fact that like this black hole thing opens up and he gets sucked into it, and he's like, oh no, Z, take these. And like that was a really, like, it was a clever and like cute way to have this plot contrivance of Z coming to Earth, because Earth was doing okay-ish, I guess, without him. And then the fact that he and Haruki or Sevenger, I should say, both have 3-minute time limits. That felt a little like I didn't like that. It was like a cute nod, and the way Haruki like highlighted it, it helped. He was like, "You too." Not that he knew it was 3 minutes, but he could tell with the color timer flashing that like something was wrong and he was running out of power. But I also don't understand how the color timers function. Is it only while they're fighting? Is it only when the combat reaches a certain level? Because it looks like they're flying around all the time through space, and that's just fine. But I don't know. Maybe it's when he made Planetfall, it started from there, or maybe he boosts his power and then he can only fight for so long at that level, and then he like basically shuts down. I don't know, but I liked it. Looked like they were using the effects from the original Ultraman, as far as them being in that like blackened sphere of a place, and then like those lights shining off. Like either they replicated it really well, or they somehow were able to use that same effects footage, which was really cool. And like there was some eerie music behind it that, or like spacey kind of like, I don't know, atmospheric music, I should say. And that was really cool. So I like the Z trigger. I don't like the metals that go into it. I like how they point out the like contrivances and the toyetic stuff. And I couldn't notice really. It looked to me like after they combined that his body changed. Ultraman Z's like form changed a little bit, and like he has more stuff on him than he had before, which might be a signifier of the combination of the two of them, which is a really cool detail, and I like that a lot. I like the boss at Storage, like military looking dude. He was a lot of fun. I think he played Wajima in Kamen Rider Wizard. And the two ladies on the team seem cool. The other dude seems cool. His captain or whatever, it was funny that he like grabbed his butt to make him cry because he was like not being serious about it, which it's funny because like Haruki's very serious about life and protecting life and whatnot, but he didn't seem too concerned about like how he'd messed up the job. You think he'd be a little more down on himself about that. And I found it curious that he wasn't. So, I don't know, there was other cute things like, Haruki kept having a hard time understanding what Ultraman Z was saying, and I wonder if like the kids, is he speaking in a different, because I'm reading it, you know, and I'm an adult, so it probably comes off differently, but I wonder if he's talking in like an older, more formal way, and if kids pick up on that or what. And then it was funny, Z said something about like, man, Earthese is like a little bit of a difficult language for me, so you know, bear with me. So that was cute. So like it was a lot of fun. It was cute. The fights were cool. I don't know what else to say. I'm really curious to see how things develop from here. And the whole chant my name thing in the theme song, and then that being the name of the episode, and that kind of like being a thing, a trope or whatever, or not a trope, but like a marketing kind of thing, like his catchphrase, bothered me at first. But then when I realized that he's saying like, no, you gotta have Ultra Spirit to like, you turn into Ultraman Z. You gotta chant my name to become me so we can fight. Like, it was cool in the context, and it felt really good. It's almost like Haruto, not Haruto, 01, whoever Kamen Rider 01 was, it almost felt like his, like, the only one who's going to defeat you, or like, the only one who can defeat you is me. Like almost psyching himself up for the battle and for the confrontation. So that was pretty cool. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for now. I'm going to ask that you visit mjmooners.com/GU for I'll update and get the new rebooted Henshin Inspection Presents Going Ultra stuff updated and refreshed and whatever, and I'll have it all there collected for you. Go ahead and check that out, and give me feedback if you're watching along with me as this show is getting a rerun. That's all I have to say for now, folks, and remember, you don't have to shout Henshin to be a hero, or chant Ultraman Z to be a hero.